Finance will take place, and anyone who requires special assistance, please call the county manager's office at 1-505-425-9333. I'd like to recognize President Sanchez from Luna Community College, who is attending our meeting today. Thank you. This meeting was published in the Las Vegas Optic on May 26, 2017, disseminated to radio stations KFUN, KLVF, KNMX, and KBLQ on June 2nd, 2017, and posted on the San Miguel County website at www.smcounty.net on June 2nd, 2017, at least 72 hours in advance of this meeting. The following agenda for today's meeting was posted and available for public inspection on the San Miguel County website at www.smcounty.net, and also available in a hard copy at the office of the San Miguel County Manager, Suite 201 of the location noted above. So at this point, I'd like to call this meeting to order with a roll call vote.
Chairman Rocco Levidi.
Here.
Vice Chairman Arthur Padilla.
Here.
Commissioner Janice Varela.
Presente.
Commissioner Maria Martinez.
Here.
Commissioner Chris Nahad.
Here.
And with that, I'd like to ask Commissioner Nahad to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you, Commissioner. I stand for approval of the agenda. It's been reviewed.
Move that we approve the agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Nahad, seconded by Commissioner Martinez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, approval of the minutes for the May 10th, 2017 regular commission meeting. Also, the approval of the minutes for the May 30th special meeting minutes.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Commissioner Padilla,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we're going to have the introduction of the new San Miguel County employees. And is Eileen going to present, or is that you, Mr. Manager?
That would be me. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I would like to recognize Mr. Johnny Trujillo. He's our new motor grader operator, probationary full-time employee for San Miguel County Public Operations Division.
And is he here today, or is he at work?
Is that work?
Okay, great. Welcome aboard, Johnny. Next, we're going to move to public input. I'd like to remind everyone that there will be no threatening or abusive comments. The disruptive meeting shall not be allowed. All speakers shall address the Board of County Commissioners, mention their name, and then speak on the issue from the podium. Dr. Eric Romero.
Mr. Chair, esteemed commissioners, me quedo ante ustedes, Eric Romero, para servirles. In a general sense, again, we're here once again. We had the opportunity. Thank you for giving us the audience last month when we were able to speak and address some of these issues as far as our concerns around safe space and sanctuary space for immigrants and representation of our immigrant community here in Las Vegas. And I'm actually going to go ahead and allow, if you don't mind, I'd like to allow the floor to Anaini Hernandez and one of our other colleagues that's coming up to help us in our petition, or rather our suggestion and our offering to the commissioners that we wish to continue to be part of the discussions as it relates to a potential designation of safe space sanctuary designation here in San Miguel County. And I'm going to let them speak about some of the additional resources and some of the other additional efforts which they want to bring into the community to help us, that we could help again work with our immigrant community.
Would Dr. Romero, would you like to speak when we get to that item, so we can be speaking on the subject?
Do you have it within the agenda?
We have a resolution on the agenda. It's not an action item. I wanted feedback from our commissioners and from any concerns that anyone might have,
Okay.
so that we can have a discussion on it and hopefully get it on the agenda for next month as an action item. But if you'd like to speak at the time when it comes up for the resolution,
Certainly.
I think that would be more proper.
Yes, sir. Could you indicate to me what number it was in the agenda?
I'll find it right now. Number 2.
Yes, sir. We can wait until then, if that's your wish.
I just think it would be better if we talked about it when we get to that. Thank you. So there's 3, Felipe and Ania? Are the 2 that are with you? Hernandez, okay. Thank you so much, Doctor. So next on the public input forum with Manuel Garcia.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Manuel Garcia, and in April I talked a little bit about following through and completing the task, and I do want to recognize San Miguel County. You know, when anybody does a good job, you should recognize the good job that they did. So I do want to state that in terms of follow through and completing the task, the county did a very good job in terms of the proposal to try to move that liquor license from Conchas to Romero Beach. The residents didn't want that, and the county employees who were involved with that did a very good job, and as a result, the county rejected that proposal to move the liquor license. And then furthermore, I guess the county followed up on that. I heard through the grapevine that they followed up on that, and that the state actually rejected the liquor license move. So congratulations, that's a job well done. Today's talk is about strength of character. Elected officials and county employees must exhibit a high strength of character. The citizens of the county depend on the utmost and highest character and actions from all elected officials and employees. Elected officials and employees must follow the letter of the law and adhere to the statutes of the state of New Mexico and to the federal statutes as well. We will be monitoring the county's adherence to state law and policy. This is the most problematic area that I can see in the 2 years or so that I've been appearing here and commenting. The county management and staff are very weak in state law and policy, so that's something that we can all improve on, learn more about the state law and learn more about policy. And I know that you're a new board, but we always have room for improvement. We will be monitoring selected projects to make sure that the statements of work are completed for projects. That's another weak area. Some road projects will be scrutinized, and a practice of robbing Peter to pay Paul will also be looked at. And this came to my attention when the Pend Oreille issue came up last year as to whether that road was actually a county road and whether it should be maintained or not. And we're going to look at that further, that particular issue further. And we must get rid of the practice of robbing Peter to pay Paul. I know that budgets are tight, and we've got to make sure that we satisfy the requirements of the statutes. And trading, blading, and grading for hunting privileges has to stop. They used to be prevalent in the past. The county road crew in the last year has done a pretty good job out at Mess, taking care of the road. But there's still some things that need to be improved. And then only the certified mileage and the road logs must be maintained. The county has to stop maintaining roadways that are private and are not on the road log. That's another problem area. The road log is still not accurate and needs to be corrected to reflect only officially adopted roads. And I'd like to point out on Chapter 3, I think in either the January or February talk that I made, I mentioned the County Commissioner's Handbook. That's a very good tool for you to use. It's made by the New Mexico Association of Counties with cooperation from Las Cruces University. It's kind of a long thing. It's about 146 pages. And today I have Chapter 3, Ethics and Professionalism in the Public Sector, and I know that Rock is introducing the ethics thing. But it says, people judge their government by the caliber of those who serve in it. The public's belief in the integrity of their government will be determined entirely by the ethics of its elected officials and appointed personnel, from the highest elected officials forging policy to the thousands of public employees diligently conducting the daily work of government. Nothing erodes public confidence in government more than unethical or dishonest leadership. The cynicism and distrust of government that usually follows political scandals over ethical violations diminish the public trust in its leaders, institution, and the laws. So I leave you with that to ponder. We have a lot to improve. So far, I'm pretty proud of the way the new commission has functioned, but there's quite a room for improvement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. And we'll move into regular order now with item number 1, Proclamation 06-13, 2017, CM, and declaring June 13th, 2017, Lisa and Jim Size Day. This is a proclamation to Jim and Lisa Size for their lifelong commitment to economic development in San Miguel County. And I will read this proclamation into the record. And then I'll ask President Sanchez to say a few words, and then perhaps the Sizes. Proclamation 06-13-2017. Thank you, sir. And declaring June 13th, 2017, Lisa and Jim Size Day. Everyone hear me okay now? Whereas Lisa and Jim Size are business owners of We Care Agency Incorporated, We Care Transportation, Pino's Family Restaurant, and soon to be open Con Cariño Assisted Living Facility. Whereas Lisa and Jim both reside and grew up in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Whereas they began their business, We Care Agency, Inc., in 2005 and started off with an office in Las Vegas and later in Gallup. As years went by, Jim and Lisa now have offices in Albuquerque, Raton, Las Cruces, Cuba, and recently Roswell, New Mexico. Whereas in 2005, they started a non-medical emergency transportation program in Arizona, serving the eastern part, mainly the Navajo and Hopi Nation. Soon became We Care Transportation in 2006. Lisa applied to service the state of New Mexico in December 2009. We Care Transportation began transporting clients with the state of New Mexico. Since then, the company has grown to over 800 employees to date. Whereas recently this year, the state of New Mexico issued a license to officially open Con Cariño Assisted Living Facility and Pino's Family Restaurant in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Whereas Lisa and Jim have contributed to the city of Las Vegas, the county of San Miguel, through gross receipts taxes, paying an average of over $100,000 a month to Las Vegas and providing jobs to individuals in Las Vegas and surrounding counties. Whereas of this day, they have offices in Raton, Las Vegas, Roswell, Las Cruces, Shiprock, Grants, Cuba, and Gallup, and services the Navajo nations. These employees provide an economic impact into said communities. Whereas they have supported many organizations in the community, as well as around the state, helping both high schools, local Little League programs, the youth, local police departments, and around the state. They also have helped with veterans programs such as Paws and Stripes scholarships and plans to resonate the home health care agencies in Las Vegas and provide coordinated care across the state of New Mexico. Whereas Lisa is a 1985 graduate from West Las Vegas and also attended Luna Vocational Technical Institute and New Mexico Highlands University. Jim is a 1980 graduate from Robertson High School and also attended Luna Vocational Institute. Both are entrepreneurs and visionaries whose dream is to continue to help and assist the citizens in their community and surrounding areas. They have 7 children and 8 grandchildren. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioner of San Miguel unanimously passing this proclamation. Maybe I should wait till we vote before I read that part. So we'll open it up for discussion before we actually declare this and have a vote. But it'd be nice if we can clone you guys. You know, we need 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more people just like you. And I'd like to thank you for all the work that you've done. And I'm glad that it was finally brought to my attention so you can get the recognition that you for so long have deserved. Not only in San Miguel, but across the state, all the employees you've done for the people of New Mexico. This is really inspiring for all of us. And I'll open the floor to any commissioners who have a...
Jimmy, the Sizes have really contributed a lot in this community. They really have not been recognized by any one entity, but I think that doing this, I think it's something, a little bit of a showing our appreciation for all the hard work that you've gone through. I know I've talked to you before, and a lot of personal stories that that I heard, and tribulations that you guys went through, and problems. But you got it done, and you got it done the right way. All your employees that you have, I'm sure they're happy to work for you. So congratulations is all I can say, and continue your good work. And I mean that I think for the community too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to attest, they make darn good coffee. I'm there every morning. And they serve good food as well. But I'd like to recognize one of your employees. I don't know if you know him, Mr. Rascon, was a county commissioner here back in the days when I was a sheriff. What, 2 terms? Mr. Rascon, 2 terms. But I'd like to recognize him, former county commissioner.
I'd like to say thank you for the jobs that you guys do, for our community of Las Vegas, and thank you for employing as many people as you do in our county. Good job and congratulations, and keep it going.
Yes, congratulations as well for me. Thank you.
At this time, President Sanchez. Jim and Lisa want to say something also?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, it's an honor for me to be here with this Lisa and Jim. I think everybody in the community know who they are, but I was Lisa's teacher back in 4th grade many, many years ago. But what I wanted to speak about is, we talk about economic development for the state of New Mexico. And I hear on the news every day that people get incentives for starting a business. The governor will put it on the news media, and they say they're bringing in 10 people, and if things go well, they're going to bring in 50 more, and they're going to get tax breaks, and they're getting all this stuff for it. And usually it never happens. They get all this stuff from the state of New Mexico, and then they leave, or the program or the business that they brought in didn't work out. And Lisa has been doing this job, and I go back to when she started. She graduated from West. I was the mayor at that time. I brought her into the city of Las Vegas. Her work ethics is great. She's always working. She's gone through all kinds of different problems in her life. But I remember they had a little restaurant here on the park, and she was cleaning tables, and her mom was making the red chili. And I remember that chili like it was yesterday. Great chili. But again, we forget about our own. We're willing to bring in people from Texas, Arizona, anywhere else to the state of New Mexico, and we recognize them. And we forget that this young lady, this gentleman, have 800 people employed in the state of New Mexico. Never been recognized. They've never been looked at as anybody that does anything for economic development. How many people in New Mexico or in Las Vegas pay $100,000 a month on taxes? I don't know of anybody in Las Vegas. Maybe there is. I don't know of any. So it's an honor to have people like that, like the commissioners talked about, to have individuals that are committed to Las Vegas, were born in Old Town. They never left Las Vegas. They're still here. They're committed to our community, to keeping people within Las Vegas. You hear every day that they're leaving to Albuquerque. Well, they're trying to help in keeping those people in Las Vegas. So it's a big honor for her and her kids to do what they do for Las Vegas. Never been recognized. So it's an honor for me, and it's an honor for our community. It's an honor for Luna Community College. They both went to Luna Community College. Again, I want to thank you, Rock, for doing this for them. It's time that we recognize our own. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm a little shy, even though I employ over 800 employees, but we do contribute a lot to Las Vegas. We were asked to take our administration office to Albuquerque because of the gross receipt tax and the employment level for administration staff. And we said we were born here and raised here, and we want to keep it here. I have some amazing employees that have been with me for the 14 years, and I have some that have been here 8. Lawrence Rascon works out of Albuquerque, and he's been our left and right person. And Leroy came aboard a couple of years ago, Leroy Garcia, and he's a wonderful staff of ours. Francine up front, she is a biller out of Hawaii. Her husband is stationed in the Marines, which is my stepson. And our maintenance staff is here. We have over 250 vehicles on the road, and they all admin staff is done here. We gross about 18 million a year, and we love Las Vegas. We don't want to leave. So thanks again. We don't get recognized at all, but it meant a lot to us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell them about the hacienda too.
Thank you guys for the acknowledgement, and that means a lot to us. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, it's long overdue, and I think I speak for everyone. We thank you for your commitment to Las Vegas. And I'll stand for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution with pride.
Motion made by Commissioner Padilla, seconded by Commissioner Martinez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of San Miguel County, by unanimously passing this proclamation, passed and approved on this 13th day of June 2017 by the Board of County Commissioners of San Miguel County, New Mexico. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Mr. Chair, mind if there's like 4 typos on there. You want to fix those typos before we sign it?
Yes, I will, sir.
And then we'll get a copy over to the CISIS, and thank you so much again. Moving on to item number 2 on the agenda, Resolution 13-2017-CM. It's for information purposes only. This is a resolution making policy changes to safeguard residents' sensitive personnel information, the commitment by San Miguel County to human and civil rights, the established rule of law, and its status as a welcoming community for immigrants and refugees, and directing the county manager and county attorney to assess the county's legal rights and responsibilities under application of law. I want to add, and I could read this resolution, I presume, into the record, although we don't intend to pass it today. I wanted to open a discussion on it to curb any kind of fears that someone might have about it. The fact of the matter is this resolution really doesn't change anything at all. Precisely how this community acts, and law enforcement and our courts, and how we proceed and how we treat people, this doesn't change it. It just says it out loud. This is what we've been doing for many, many years. We've been a welcoming community. We've had the utmost respect for human life and civil liberties. Even without this resolution, we are already listed in the Department of Homeland Security as a sanctuary county, regardless if we pass this resolution or not. So that's what I mean when this doesn't change anything. All this does is it says it out loud. This is what we've been doing for years, and this is how we're going to continue to do things. It does not create sanctuary for criminals. Our laws and our law enforcement, nothing will change for them. So I hope that you guys had a chance to read it, and I hope I can answer any questions. I do serve on the Immigration Task Force, and I was in the meetings in DC with the subject matter was Sanctuary City, what that means. We had a panel of lawyers to answer all our questions. Department of Homeland Security was there. So,
I have a question, Mr. Chairman, if I may. This mirrors actually the resolution passed by Santa Fe County.
actually, it's watered down
Watered down.
because and what was removed from it, and I sent you guys all copies, I don't know if you read the
Yeah,
Santa
yeah,
Fe
yeah.
one, but they created a board, an oversight board, that actually oversees the city police department, to where if someone is asked of their immigration status by an officer, they can report it to the board, who meets with the mayor, and they have hearings, and I didn't think that was necessary for us. I don't think we should have an oversight on our sheriff's department. I think they do a great job, and they've been doing what's in this resolution anyway. How our jails operate, we don't hold people past the release date, which is a Fourth Amendment violation. There's all these things that we don't do, and that's mainly the part that I removed from the Santa Fe ordinance, is an oversight committee for the law enforcement.
The question that had just the concern that it passed legal muster over there, so they had their attorneys review it, so it's fine with them.
It's fine with them, and if you read the language, it always states, unless otherwise provided by law. So, if they say do not release this information to an ICE agent, unless they show up with a warrant, then that's provided for by law, then you must release information. So most of the language in here is unless otherwise provided by law.
Okay.
So that should cover us legally, and their attorneys, when I spoke with the mayor of Santa Fe, and their attorneys have been mulling over this, and it cost them quite a few dollars, and we're just kind of doing it on the cheap here by using all of their expertise. But I didn't want to put it as an action item until I heard from everyone and the concerns of Sheriff Gold and supporters also. And I'll ask Dr. Romero and the students to speak to this again, unless there are any more questions from the commission.
No, it's fine.
Dr. Romero, I think you and Ms. Hernandez and Mr. Rodriguez are up. And if you can state your name for the record when you approach the podium, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you once again for the invitation to be here, to be able to speak in front of the commission, in front of our esteemed community members. I am your host, Jerry Romero. I am faculty at Highlands University. I'm the director or the chair of the Diversity Advisory Council and department chair for the Department of Language and Culture. And first of all, if I could accompany you in congratulating the Saiz familia. Once again, I feel that, on the part of the commission, it's great that you recognize community. And if I could key on that and saying again, they've done great things, is what I've heard, as far as their contribution to community. But I also want to remind the commission that we have other members of our community that may not be quite as fortunate, and some that are actually disenfranchised because of their citizenship status, but nonetheless, they are community members, and they contribute heavily with heart and soul to our community, to our economies, et cetera, et cetera. And so I congratulate the commission on moving forward as far as looking at a resolution that provides not only protection, and as Chairman Ulibarri mentions, some of these provisions are already in place, so you've already made these actions and you've already adhered to some of these policies that support our immigrant community. But I think as well that by making it a statement and coming up and passing a resolution and making it as a declaration, it relieves some of the fear that's happening with many of our immigrant community, because it's a constant reminder in their heads. If they are in different levels of immigrant status, and this isn't only for undocumented immigrants in particular, are threatened at this point. And I could tell you this also as part of being on the Committee for International Education at Highlands University. Many of our international students, again, are a little bit more fearful, even if they are within a legal status here in the nation. And this is, again, because of the shifts in the political direction of our country, et cetera. So again, we appreciate that you are considering this, and we're hoping that you move forward with this declaration, more so that we can make it known and be it loud and make it recognizable within our communities, that we understand and we recognize the plight of our immigrant community, and to the degree that we involve them, include them, embrace them within our communities. I think it's not only a bold, but it's a humanistic statement. And again, oftentimes, when we do that, we think of an immigrant community and we see of them as either silent or invisible. And while they're not silent and invisible, we bring them here. And I really appreciate if you could listen once again as to what their concerns are. And in particular, one of the areas of that where they want to contribute, because in the manner that they're going to speak to you about a couple of different organizations that they represent, which are really invested in not only, again, recognizing immigrants with our community, but building those communities that so they are more participatory, more contributory, and again, more recognizable within our communities. So we're looking at, to the degree that you move forward with the resolution, if we could be part of that to the degree that we could lend to education efforts, to community development efforts, to organizing efforts as well. And again, so they're aligned with different areas of resources.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Hi, my name is Banaya Hernandez, and I'm a immigrant woman of color. And right now I'm working with New Mexico Dream Team. I'm an organizer for northern part of New Mexico, as well as I'm currently in Highlands University. I would say to just ask you guys to let us be part of this week of the sanctuary, to be part of this as not only MECHA that I'm part of in Highlands, but as New Mexico Dream Team here in New Mexico and United We Dream nationally. And I brought some people with me that are representing United We Dream as well as New Mexico Dream Team, and they would like to talk a little bit more about that, so I'll let it to Felipe. I would like to work with this community because as a student, I feel I'm safe, but not safe to go outdoors and be saying what I am and where I hang out with, who I hang out with, where I live, who my family is. I just feel like if there's something there, a paper, something saying you're safe, that would like work a lot for me. Just feeling safe as I live right now for summer. I live in Taos. I feel really safe there as they just declare sanctuary as well. And I just want to feel safe here in school. And we were working to making Highlands Sanctuary, but I feel a lot of students don't only live in campus, but out of campus. So San Miguel County, I'm just asking for you guys to have in mind.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for the record, Taos County and San Miguel County are both in the top 5 safest place for immigrants in the nation.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Felipe. I'm a student at the University of New Mexico, and I am a field organizer with the New Mexico Dream Team and United We Dream, which is the largest national network led by undocumented immigrants. I am also undocumented. Me and my family came to this country running from violence in Mexico, and despite wanting to immigrate the right way, going through the immigration system was impossible because it's too expensive and it's too complicated. But we have the option of living here undocumented or put our lives at risk in Mexico. So we immigrated, and I consider myself very lucky for coming to a state that is very welcoming to immigrants, where I had access to resources and access to education to pursue my dreams. And I had access to a community that embraced me and made me feel safe. But of course, right now, that is not being reflected right now in the federal landscape. Our community is under attack. So I think it's very important to take a stand and denounce these things that the new administrations are doing and commit to defend all members of our community. So I want to congratulate San Miguel County for taking leadership and being a model for other counties and cities in the state in that regard. Thank you.
I'd like to also state that in this resolution, we actually put out a challenge or a request to Luna Community College, to Highlands University, to East and West School District, and to the City of Las Vegas to join us in declaring a safe space for these people. And I'd really like, Dr. Romero, for you guys to get a copy of this and your input and your voice, any language that you'd like to add, and we can meet with the manager, and if we can get your language, your thoughts, your cooperation in this, then we can pass a resolution that we're all a part of, that we all have voice in. Dr. Romero?
Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chair, again, on that orientation, yes, sir, you know, we appreciate again, and this is what we're looking at multiple levels that we have those kind of discussions taking place, and we recognize that we all have that responsibility, and there's different levels, municipal, county, there's different school systems. We've actually already addressed and came to some of the superintendents of surrounding school districts, not only here in San Miguel County, but some of the other school districts or here in Northeastern, as far as the provision of certain different kinds of levels of training for teachers to be aware and be understanding that, again, we have immigrant students within our school system, and how do we work with them? Because it's somewhat of a tragedy that we have reports already that students are telling each other in the bilingual education programs, if you speak Spanish, you're going to get deported. And so again, the education elements are very much needed because fear is really taking hold of our communities, and we need to contradict that fear with knowledge and information as to what the issues are within our communities. And so we really very much want to work with our education system. And again, because we've done some of this work at Highlands University, we already have movement forward that not only do we have a designation with Safe Space, but Dr. Minner and the Board of Regents has actually determined that we're going to have some space, some office space on campus that we could work forward with some of our diversity awareness, inclusion, and equity projects. And the MECHA group, because of their forward and their vanguard activities in working with creating safe space for all immigrant students, they're being awarded that space so they can move forward with the education program. So we very much agree with you that it's not just, again, it's not just a declaration to ease people's minds. It's a declaration that has some kind of meat to it that determines and gives allowance for us to continue with education and coordination efforts as well.
Thank you so much. Chair. So please make an appointment with the manager. Look over the resolution, put your thoughts down, and make an appointment with the manager about language you think might be missing or something that might be enhanced, and also, and then we can send it to legal, so that our legal can look at it, and hopefully we'll get it on the agenda for our July meeting for a vote. Sheriff Gold, would you like to speak on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. As your Sheriff of San Miguel County, my responsibility obviously is to enforce the law, and we are going to do that. We will not, I assure you that we will not, I can speak for our agency, and I'm sure that I can speak for the other law enforcement agencies around here. We're just going to do the right thing. We are, as I say, my religious side is we're one nation under God, and all of us should be treated equally. So we will treat everybody with respect, we will do our job, and we will move forward. And I hope that no one in this country, and especially within our county that we serve as elected officials, that people fear for going to school and getting an education, bettering their life. So legally, I respect the idea that you're all sending that to legal. I think we have a great internal legal department right now. I've been working with them on several things, and they will ensure that we do the right thing. And again, I don't want anybody to ever be living in fear. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Gold. Okay, so that was a non-action item. Unless there's any more conversation on that, we'll move to item number 3.
I would just like to thank you for coming and sharing your stories with us, and to feel that I think that we got your back. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item number 3, discussion of the hearing committee for the county attorney. This is for information only. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we recently published the RFP for the county lawyer, and the bid process, we're looking at a deadline of, let me see here, of June the 26th. So we've submitted the RFP on it should be on our website, but I know it was submitted to the optic and so forth. Our next step is to create a hiring committee. So some of the options that we have on the hiring committee is to have, these are just the options. Number 1 is to have just the 5 commissioners. Number 2 is to have 2 commissioners, several employees. And the third option is to have the 5 commissioners and maybe 3 or 4 employees. So those are the options. My recommendation would be to have a combination of of commissioners and employees. And the reason for that is we have several of our employees that work directly with the lawyer. For example, HR director, our finance director, our warden, our sheriff, and so forth. So we do have employees and elected officials that work directly with the lawyer. So at this time, I would like any input or recommendations from the commission.
I like that you mentioned the elected officials, but they're not part of the option. And as Sheriff Gold stated, he works quite a bit with legal, as he should, being the position that he holds. So I would like that as an option also. And I don't
What
think we
option was
should-
that, I'm sorry?
There wasn't an option for another elected official on there.
Okay.
And if we can make that an option,
Correct.
I think an elected official, particularly the sheriff, who works in legal, and I'm open to, I think it should be all inclusive, all members of commission, and whatever else you guys decide. But at least one elected official and all 5 members of the commission, at the very least, is my personal wish on that. Whatever else you guys have on.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, my recommendation would be to, of course, include the sheriff, finance director, and certainly HR, Eileen, because she probably worked with him more than anybody else. And can imagine who else works up close with the attorney, but at least those 3 persons, those 3 are elected officials and 2 employees, is my recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with Commissioner Nahat that a combination, I don't know if all 5 commissioners have to be involved, at least 3. I think, I'm not sure if all 5 of us need to be involved, but I agree that we should have Sheriff Gold there, and Finance Director Melinda, and our county manager, and did you say the warden also, the corrections? I'm not sure about that, but I don't, like you mentioned, the departments that are dealing with the legal regularly, I think they need to be involved too. What about anyone outside of the county? Do we need to involve anyone else or not? No?
This association, but I think we can figure it out ourselves.
I agree that we only need maybe a couple of commissioners to be on the board, and then the rest of them could be elected, some elected officials, finance director, and human resources. So, whatever commissioners want to volunteer.
I certainly feel that all 5 commissioners should be involved. It's an important position. This is actually the only person that we really supervise, is the attorney, and I think we all need to be involved in that selection along with. Yeah.
The only reason that I mentioned that is because every time that we do need, we have to be
So may I suggest that all the commissioners that wish to participate can participate, and those who might have conflicts and don't want to participate don't have to, but we shouldn't exclude anyone.
I'm sorry, correction, we also supervise the manager, so.
I would also probably recommend that we have Mr. Seneca in the committee too, because he does, I believe
I think the warden and the sheriff.
closely with.
Do you have a lot of contact with the attorney, Mr. Snedeker? Warden? Okay, all right, well, all right.
They're high item, yeah, detention.
So we have the sheriff, the warden, finance director, HR, and whichever commissioners want to participate.
Ms. Gonzalez, what's the average size we're looking at?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and County
Just
Manager.
a question, I see the probate judge out there, do you have a lot of contact with the attorney, county attorney? Would you, any need, okay, all right.
Standard practice and what the state actually recommends is a committee no more than 7, between 3 and 7 people. And it's just to make it not too large and everything. And once we all do meet, our chief procurement officer will actually go over all the rules and ground rules for the evaluation and let everybody know what the criteria is. And the criteria is actually documented in the request for proposal. But again, it's usually between 3 and 7 people. And I know that's really hard to really pick, because I know in addition to all the people that you've already mentioned that work very closely with the attorneys, I know our planning and zoning office also works very closely with them, and so does our public works office. So it really is hard to try to find everybody who you want to represent on this committee, but 3 to 7 is what the state recommends.
I was thinking about the planning and zoning commission too, and public works, I'm glad you mentioned them. Because anybody deals with the attorney, that would be hard, I don't know.
Unless we randomly select employees to be on the committee.
Sure.
Because I agree with Ms. Gonzalez. If we, with all the commissioners and supervisors, we're looking at a committee of maybe 12, 13 people.
So maybe also be brought into the process when the selection is narrowed down, possibly, but initial selection with 5 commissioners and 1 elected official, so 6. And if we, the 7th one would be HR, or I'm asking for suggestions. If 5 commissioners, an elected official, a chair vote, perhaps, what would that one more person look like?
My recommendation is to randomly select out of the supervisors that work directly with the lawyer.
For that one additional person?
Correct.
Just as another option to throw out there, not that I'm trying to get out of this, but I would trust any of my fellow commissioners to go through the process, inform me of it if that's proper, and just to allow room for the other people. Because I think that, I'm not saying that we're not important, like my 2 fellow commissioners on the other side of the table said that it is important for all of us because they're helping us and defending the county. So just as another suggestion, but I would feel comfortable. I don't know, I think that I would have, if I had to give up my seat to allow Melinda, because she knows a lot more on what's going on day to day, or Alex or someone in the county, and I would trust that the other commissioners would express my concerns and ask, you know what I'm saying? I have that kind of.
And I
faith in
agree,
you
I
guys.
would, the same thing, I would give up my seat to allow one of the supervisors to be on that committee as well. Again, like the Commissioner mentioned, faith in the committee and making the selection is important. So the recommendation would be to have 4 commissioners, Mr. Gary Gold, and then we'll randomly select 2 or 3 to make it a committee of 8.
I think there's nobody that works more with the attorney than actually HR. Because when they write the specs for employees and things like that, everything has to be approved to the legal department. And I think definitely HR needs to be involved.
And I think that, hearing from Mr. Shemika, the warden, I think that he should be involved too. So therefore, if it's my seat that needs to be taken, I'll give up my seat for him because he's working with the attorney on a continuous basis, and I wouldn't want me to take the seat that he should be sitting in.
Also, believe the county manager deals with the county attorney, as a matter of fact, the most of everyone, because he's the one that kind of directs the county attorney to the different areas. I think the county manager would be actually the
right-hand person for the
the right one to be in to be approved, because we will be dealing with them on a one-to-one basis. So the county manager definitely would be.
We have the 3 commissioners, HR director, warden, Sheriff Gold, that's 6. 6.
Public Works,
Manager.
The manager is 7.
hold on, Public Works.
Sure, Commissioners, I'm going to get for you all to consider, because you all want to consider everybody's viewpoint. Absolutely agree with that. You can't have a huge group. We do that too. And I suggest that you take it into stages. You appoint a large group, do the initial screening, narrow it down to 2 or 3 qualified candidates, which will personally interview,
commissioners, HR director, the warden, Sheriff Gold, and the manager.
And the recommendation is 2 to 7. So if we add to that, just for an initial screening, so we can get input, Ms. Gonzalez, if we add to that just for input to narrow them down, and then the actual selection committee to send a recommendation to the commission as a number 7, after they're screened and narrowed down, is that what I'm hearing, Mr. Morris?
The larger committee would be involved in the interview process?
No, screening.
Oh, okay. Okay, and the actual, the narrowed group would be involved in the interviewing? Okay, all right.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'm sorry. If I may include, if we do it that way, then like Morris said, Mr. Madrid had indicated, it's all going to be based on a point system. And then we could pick like the top 3 highest rated people, and then you guys would be in that second evaluation process. And the way that the RFP reads is that it's in the best interest, whoever is in the best interest of the county, taking into consideration all the evaluation criteria. You guys can make a determination after that point, after the first top 3 or the first top 5. I don't know how many people are going to submit an RFP, but I think we had wrote the RFP, or the RFP was written in a way that will recommend the top 3 people based on scores.
I think we had 5 applicants last time, and maybe 5 were applicants the time before that, and maybe 5 the time before that, with actually maybe 2 applicants that actually had county experience. And then I don't think we need a big team to narrow down something based on the history of our county attorney search that we've done in the last 2 years. The pool of applicants, it wasn't like 15 applicants with all kinds of resumes. It was a very small pool of applicants, and less than half of them really qualified as far as municipal or county experience. I think this, instead of complicating it, 7 and 7 is the 7 that we picked. We'll pick the top 3, set up interviews, and the 7 in the interviews. Instead of changing committees. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think we're going to have a very large pool. As a matter of fact,
Is this advertised just locally, or are you going to the state of Mexico, or are you looking at out
I'm
Ms.
sorry.
Gonzalez?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Martinez, it was advertised in the Optic as well as the Albuquerque Journal, and there's a lot of clipping agencies, so even if we just advertise in the Optic, a lot of other places end up picking up that advertisement, but it's advertised in 2 different areas.
It's advertised on the county website?
And on the countywide website, that's correct.
so, if I may again, the last 3 times this RFP went out, it was a very small pool. And I don't see it changing the 4th time. But,
And I would rather have you on the committee, because you're gonna be in there for the long term, I'm here for short term, because only have a couple of years in the meantime. But you guys are gonna be here for the long term, so I'd rather have you on the committee, I'll sit back and wait until you guys do the process. We'll determine at the end, we're gonna hire.
so we
But
still
I'd
have
rather
3
have you on the
seats.
committee, because you're gonna be with this person, probably for a longer duration.
Thank you, Commissioner Padilla. That's still 3 commissioners, regardless of who they are. That's 3 commissioners. We still have a number 7. I don't think we have to expand the committee.
Okay.
Did you mention Public Works, and are they someone that deals with legal all the time? I can imagine
The
threats
manager
over
can always
roads.
talk to them. The manager's always open, his door is always open to talk to anybody in
Oh,
their
okay.
concerns, you know, I believe.
Yes, that is correct.
So do we agree on that process? There's the directive for you to,
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, so we have 3 commissioners. Commissioner Martinez, correct? Nahad, Commissioner Nahad, Commissioner Green, then we have Sheriff Gold, we have the warden, HR director, and myself. That would be the 7.
so that's the directive for the committee together. Thank you, Mr.
Is
Manager.
that in a formal motion, or is that?
No,
Just informational.
It was information only, and so it's just, we're just giving him direction on how to form a committee. Item number 4, approve protest board members. Patricia Gallegos?
I request to keep the previous protest board members, which are as follows: Mr. Roland Medrano, Ms. Lorraine Garduño, and for the alternate board members, Ted Winston and Richard Small, which would hold a 2-year term beginning July the 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2019.
That's your recommendation?
Yes.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Padilla,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Hart. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5, ordinance number .06-13-17, 2017, establishing a code of conduct and ethics. Alex Sequoia.
Good afternoon. At the May 10th meeting, May 10th, 2017, the County Commission adopted a resolution which directed the county manager to do all things necessary and proper for the adoption of a proposed ordinance establishing a code of conduct and ethics. What we're doing today is submitting proposed ordinance number 06-13-2017, establishing a code of conduct and ethics. We're submitting it for public hearing and for review by the Board of County Commissioners. Currently, the proposed ordinance is under review by the county's legal counsel, and apparently they have not yet finished their review yet. So in discussion with the county manager, we determined that we would go ahead with the public hearing, public input portion of the ordinance and review by the Board of County Commissioners in case there's anything they feel that needs to be changed before we submit it for final adoption, and then also give the legal counsel time to finish their review as well.
Thank you, Alex. I certainly would like to hear what our legal counsel has to say. It was with legal for 5 months and never completed. So I don't know what, now that it's with new legal counsel, what their suggestions are going to be. I don't know. Is anyone here prepared to testify at this hearing today on the ethics ordinance? Perhaps we should table this until we hear from legal.
Motion to table item number 5.
Motion to table by Commissioner Haas, seconded by Commissioner Padilla. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And please read through this and talk to the manager about any of your concerns. I have a number of concerns, but it doesn't look like we're prepared for a hearing. There's not going to be any public input anyway, so hopefully we can get this out on the next round. Get more public input. Thank you. Item number 6. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Authorization to issue report for proposals for engineering services as needed.
That's what we're doing here. The current agreements for engineering services on an as-needed basis are in their 4th year, which is the last year, and they'll soon expire. So in order to continue to have such services available, we would like to issue a request for proposals for professional engineering services as needed. So we're asking for authorization to go ahead and proceed with issuing the RFP. We had it reviewed by the Professional Technical Advisory Board, and the Professional Technical Advisory Board advised us that there was not a professional technical advisor to review the RFP because, as they put it, everyone wants to pursue the work. So they directed us to go ahead and proceed with the advertisement. So we're just asking for authorization to go ahead and do that.
Can, one moment, please, Mr. Padilla. Mr. Taboya, we had discussed, and I don't remember if it was a directive or not, we had discussed to put in the RFPs where some kind of weight to be those who would be willing to move their office to San Miguel County for GRT purposes, and that might carry more weight with these proposals, the request for proposals. I don't know if that was that's a direction, Mr. Manager, to you or a direction to planning and zoning? Do you recall that conversation, sir? To add that language into our RFPs for engineering services, to see if we can entice any of these engineering services to open an office here for the purposes of GRT.
That was correct, to encourage those that apply to have an office, but also for the ones that do apply that have those specific needs as requested.
So is that language in the RFP?
Not in the RFP, no, sir.
Is that where it would go?
That's something we can add if the board wants us to under,
Yeah, so we can approve this with an amended to change the
yes,
language.
yes, it's not in its final draft.
Oh, it's not the
form
final
yet,
draft?
no.
Oh, okay. Then let's, Mr. Commissioner, would you like to amend your motion to add that language? That some extra weight?
Requisition for them to make sure that set up an office here.
Not to make sure,
Or-
but that would carry extra weight on the
Or
request for
possible
proposal.
to set up
Yeah.
How do you want to word that? How would we word it?
We'll leave it up to Mr. Taboya to have that, to develop that language for the RFP.
How about we do that
You could say
together?
preferential treatment would be given to those who establish a local office.
Okay.
We're giving them additional points and assistance.
So that would be part of the ranking criteria then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And heavily.
So we'll make that amendment to that statement and, so the motion stands.
So Commissioner Padilla made a motion to include language to promote someone opening an office here.
Is there a motion? Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nahad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, Alex. Item number 7, out-of-state travel for Mike Montaño, our chief, to be a guest at the instructor at Texas Extension Engineering Services. How are you doing, Chief?
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon,
Eleuterio.
Commissioner, and members of the commission. So, in January of 2017, I was invited to become a guest instructor for the July Teaks Industrial Annual Fire School located at the Texas A&M campus in College Station, Texas. The Texas A&M Fire Training Facility is recognized worldwide as a premier training center. Being invited to be a guest instructor is an honor. The training is scheduled to begin July 16, 2017 and run through July 21st, 2017. However, as a guest instructor, I am required to be at the facility on Friday, July 14, 2017. This is also so I may attend orientated meetings prior to the training. At this time, I'm requesting authorization from San Miguel County Board of Commissioners to attend as a guest instructor for the July Teaks Industrial Annual Fire School from July 14 to July 21st, 2017 in College Station, Texas.
Thank you, Chief. Linda, does this follow all our procurements, codes? That's all I need to hear. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to go on.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
And don't let him talk you into staying.
I've already denied the first offer, thank you.
Because I know you've been offered.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've already denied the first offer.
Thank you. Motion made by Commissioner Padilla, seconded by Commissioner Varela. You're staying in San Miguel.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Item number 8, Mexico Detention Center Training Academy Program, Mr. Boardman Patrick Snedeker.
Mr. Chair and all members of the San Miguel County Commission, Dr. Vidal Martinez and Ms. Gonzalez, the contractual agreement by and between Luna Community College and San Miguel County, New Mexico for the provision of educational services for a detention center training academy program specific to the San Miguel County Detention Center is presented for commission review and approval. About 14 years ago, Mr. Chair and all members of the commission, I met with President Leroy Sanchez, who was here earlier from Luna Community College, along with the New Mexico Association of Counties, and we were able to work collectively and collaboratively. We formed a New Mexico Detention Center training academy for our detention officers. It is approved by the New Mexico Association of Counties. We've had the relationship since, and we have had 23 successful academies. We've also included the Northeast region of New Mexico, and we've had a lot of good success with Taos County, New Mexico attending in their detention center, as well as Colfax County, New Mexico attending. The successful detention officers meet all of the requirements for certification with the New Mexico Association of Counties, as well as receive 6 hours of college credit at New Mexico, at Luna Community College. Mr. Chair, I respectfully request, and all members of the commission, review and approval of the contract and agreement as presented, and it has been reviewed and approved by Luna Community College, as well as has been reviewed by the San Miguel County Attorney. Mr. Chair.
It's time for a motion to board of questions. Motion made by Commissioner Martinez, seconded by Commissioner Padilla. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And Ward Snedeker, looks like you're up again. Detention center billing, outstanding balance is not collectible. Ward Snedeker.
Mr. Chair and all members of the San Miguel County Commission, a listing has been compiled of detention center outstanding balances that are specific to the housing and the care of other public agency detainees that are uncollectible. The enumerated public agency locations have cited New Mexico State Statute 33-314, specific to confinement in a county other than in which the crime was committed, that the expenses borne by the county as valid justification for non-payment. Approval is sought, Mr. Chair and all members of the commission, to declare the balances as uncollectible and to properly expunge, remove those balances from any future outstanding balance reports for San Miguel County. Mr. Chair and all members of the commission, we bring this item on a June and December basis for your review and approval. The item has been reviewed by the San Miguel County manager, along with consultation and agreement from our finance director, Ms. Gonzalez, and the review and approval of the San Miguel County attorney. I respectfully request approval and expungement of those outstanding balances. Mr. Chair.
It's time for a motion. If there's no discussion.
I have a question, since I'm new. I'm assuming this is a regular practice. Do you try to bill these other counties and then they don't pay us, or is you just don't charge them based on the agreement?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Borrella and all members of the commission, we do bill for all housing and care at the detention center. Those enumerated counties have chosen not to pay and have cited the state statute. I worked recently with our county manager, and there is an item that will probably appear at the up at Taos at the centers in New Mexico have always had a rule that when we house for another entity on charges that originate in another location, we provide a 48-hour notice to come and pick up the detainee, for instance, from Doñana County. That process is agreed upon with the detention administrators. That process essentially works, and there is no billing because we've given each other the opportunity to not burden one another. Obviously, the sheriff from each county is a critical partner in those processes, and we appreciate that. I've seen in our executive asked me to review, and I was happy to, a intended policy amongst counties that would provide for a 96-hour, which is 4 days, period of time where you would house the other entities, individual at no cost, and then you would begin billing at that point. I've made my recommendation to the manager based on my experience that that process is not a process to be adhered to because of these instances where you still have a rather significant group of counties that will not comply with a 48-hour notification. There's always a burden to house and care for food service, health services, clothing, etc. To any county that houses arrestees. Mr. Chair, Commissioner Varela, all members of the commission, thank you for letting me explain that process. I hope it makes sense as it is intended. I would request, if there's no additional questions, and if I've answered adequately, approval to expunge as the item is presented.
Let me ask you one question. I was always curious to find out, Mr. Seneca, how is it that, have we ever done that to any other county? Have we ever piggybacked on somebody else's facility and not paid them? I mean, maybe Melinda can explain it better because she does like that. Have we done that before?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Padilla, and
I'm curious to find out.
I always will yield to Ms. Gonzalez and her brilliance. San Miguel County has always paid its bills as long as I have been here. Mr. Chair and all members of the commission.
Okay, another little question, not a big one, just a small one. The kind of I'm curious about is also, are we doing the same counties over and over every year, or are we doing other counties? Because if we're doing the same county over and over every year, then they're getting a free ride every year. And I don't know how we could find out, maybe looking at the list and checking to see if it's the same county over and over.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Padilla, all members of the commission, it is the same essential group of individual counties: Bernalillo County, Santa Fe County, San Paul County, Valencia County, Doñana County. It is the same group. I am unable statutorily to not accept an arrestee. I try never to do that at the detention center, and we've worked long and hard, and as I say, it's very challenging to try to get not only detention administrators to agree, but county managers to agree, and even when they agree sometimes, they'll leave and then change their mind. So I think we have a very good process in place, and I think we're realists, and I also believe we meet the requirements to do it properly if we're going to expunge those uncollectible balances. Mr. Chair, Commissioner Padilla.
So it's going to be brought up at the Association of Counties by you or by who?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Padilla and all members, I see it developing in the county manager's affiliate from having worked with Dr. Martinez and just recently seen the proposal and having given my recommendation. So those things generally originate at the executive level.
And the reason it bothers me so much now, because I've been here so long, I've been seeing that every year or every other year, the same thing, in the same counties. And the reason it bothers me now more so than then is because now we're strapped, every county's strapped in their budgets. And here we are having to lodge people. You're talking thousands of dollars. How much are we talking about the total?
$19,000, Mr. Chair.
$19,000, which doesn't look like a lot, which is not a lot. But when you're strapped for money, $19,000 can get you a long ways. Anyway, I'm just saying that that's what I feel personally about not paying my bills and somebody else not paying me. And I don't think that that's right. That the county of San Miguel taxpayers have to dish out that $19,000 for Bernalillo and all the other counties that are there. But anyway, that's my own feeling, and I will agree to pay it off because we don't want to carry it because it's more of a burden for us. But that's the way I feel about it.
Ms. Gonzalez, do you have something to add?
That's just something that I think is not right from the beginning, and also the fact that we're at the point now where we're doing that every year, pretty much allowing this thing to happen. And I think at some point it might be illegal for us to be even doing that, to allowing this to happen every year and washing it away. It's work that our people are doing to help those people. Mr. Senator runs a good facility, and it's costing him work and time and hours. And it's just not your fault. It's just that we need to fix the system. Something's broken there. Either we're not allowing it. When we start housing people that owe you 5 or 6 or 7,000, when they first start, the first month, we should attack it right away. If they don't pay, we want to close the doors. I think that's what we need to do. If we're going to allow this to happen, then we need to be on top of it. Once the prisoner comes in, we need to get money as soon as possible, instead of allowing it to go for a year or 2 years, and then we work it out. So at some point we need to do something about it.
What do we do? Send them to the crab bureau? I don't know how we can collect it.
I'm looking at from the citizen's point.
Mr. Chair and all members of the commission, we have all of our billing processes in place. Those folks work very diligently and very deliberately. We have a wonderful relationship with our sheriff and all of his good folks. And I'm very proud of the fact that San Miguel County has, both locally as well as across the state, always paid our bill and done the right thing. With anyone who has provided a service to us, it might be a doctor, it might be a dentist, sometimes in emergency circumstances, it might be for housing or care. Mr. Chair, I appreciate all of the thoughtfulness of all members of the commission. I respectfully request review and approval of the item as presented.
Well, we'll make the motion to approve it. Thank you.
Motion to approve by
I'll
Commissioner.
second that, but I don't see any way to collect, and we had this problem before, and there used to be courtesy holds when I was sheriff's department, and you know, after so many days, and sometimes when, yeah, and Bernalillo County was bad at that, because they would hold a prisoner for 4 days and not, because that big hole over there, couldn't keep track of their inmates. So then they would bill us after so many days, when they never informed us. That was always a problem. So I don't know how we can do it collect, but I'm gonna second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Nahad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 10, Summer Youth Program. The discussion of selection process and procedures for the Summer Youth Program. Mr. Madrid.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, before you start your discussion, I'd like to give you a little background on the front and back end of this program. On the front end of the program, I've in discussion with our HR Director, Aileen Cedillo. Any employment that's undertaken by the county has to be equal opportunity. So whatever the application process is, should be fair and open to everyone. The selection process is at your discretion. The only thing that we do suggest is that for a summer youth program, that it be open to any youth between the ages of 14 and 18. Under the age of 16, they have to provide a work permit from the Department of Workforce Solutions, and that's as simple as getting their parents to sign a permission form. Other than that, our recommendation is that you don't set any criteria to give preference to college students or people over 6'5" or anything like that, but it's wide open to anyone that you all suggest. And the criteria and direction that you give the manager belongs to you. The funding, I believe, was identified to employ 5 youth for about 8 weeks. I'm not sure how the program has functioned in the past, but since we'll be administering, my team will be administering the program, we've had some discussion about this, and I'd like to tell you a little about it in order to solicit any ideas that you all have. Our idea is that it is a learning, positive, and enriching experience for these youth, so that they learn about county government, so that they learn about government in general, that their knowledge is expanded, so that they will care about government and be motivated to get involved, and at least informed, so that they'll understand how does the assessor's office operate, why does it operate, how does that translate into collections in the treasurer's office and transfer it to the finance department so that government can operate. How is it that the DWI program operates and what are their objectives? So that they're exposed to all these different areas, they're mentored, and sure, we'll get value for the pay that they receive, but it won't be picking up trash on the side of the road every day. It'll be a positive experience that they'll take away with them and hopefully share with some of their fellow students. So those are some of our ideas, and basically what we're asking from you all this afternoon is discussion on the selection process.
Should income be a factor? I mean, income, or lack of, resources, financial resources.
I don't know, and you guys can discuss that. I only have one single concern, and just because we were doing it the way we did it the last few years doesn't mean that was the right way. You know,
How did you do it, if I can ask?
each commissioner gave them 2 names, and the manager picked 2. And according to Mr. Madrid, that doesn't seem like the right way to do it. So I want to do things right. My only concern is this very small window to get this implemented.
Right.
And so I'll support whatever you guys want, but the window's closing on us. We had 8 weeks, and I don't know if we have 8 weeks left of summer yet, So that's my only concern, is how quickly can we implement whatever design you want to use for choosing our youth, and how quickly we can get it in place and these kids working. And making them a government and learning how it works, all that's fantastic. My only concern is how quickly can we do that in the window that we have that's closing.
Well, I want to say thank you for Mr.
equal opportunity.
Well, no,
Does a
you-
kid from a wealthy family going to be equally able
Mr.
to
Chair,
apply
you
for it
can,
as people of poor families?
you can set criteria for that as long as the opportunity on the front end is open and equal. It's like the federal work study program. Income is absolutely a criteria there. So you can set criteria. As a matter of fact, Commissioner, if you all want to be the selection committee, you can. That would probably delay the process unless you call a special meeting. But you can give preference to college students, whether they're attending, whether the first one's attending college in their family, whether they're low income, right, single parent families. Absolutely. Sure, you can do that. And with your direction, we can set those criteria as long as we can advertise for a week, and we can do that on the website, and the manager can go over on the radio stations. We can get it on a fast track, and we can get it done pretty quickly.
And I'm not saying that a family that makes $150,000 may not, their children may not have to work, or we don't want to get them educated as well. I'm just saying that kids that are looking for work at that age are probably wanting to buy school clothes for the upcoming school year.
No, my only
Probably
curiosity
wanting
was,
to feed
is
their
that a
family.
violation? Can we set the criteria? Is it legal to set the criteria? I have a question about a wealthy family. He said it's
Right.
straight, so we can make the criteria.
Yes, you can.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Madrid, I have a concern about, I want this to happen so we don't miss an opportunity before summer gets away from us. In my district, which is, furthest away in Pecos, I would like to offer this
Right.
opportunity, but it's going to be a barrier as to how a young person can get here, whether they have transportation, how they can get here. But I would like to see how I can help to try to recruit someone in my district, but I don't want to hold up the process. And I don't want to have to be part of the selection committee. Now, for me to just say, oh, I'm going to pick somebody, I was really concerned, like, who am I going to pick and how do I do that? So if you have a different idea how we do that, but
Right.
I don't want to exclude some of the youth from my district just because of the distance from here. I know my nephew works at Walmart maybe, or somebody who works in town, maybe could give him a ride. So I don't know how we'd accommodate that, but.
There probably are options. I know that I used to ride the park and ride to go to Santa Fe, and there are park and ride services from Santa Fe coming this way that stop there and roll.
Okay.
That may be an option. It's pretty
Okay.
early.
Yeah,
But-
so anyway, so I'd like to see how I could work with you just on that, and that particular thing is to try to reach out to someone from my district. And I don't know anybody, I don't have anybody in mind.
Can I add something to that?
Sure, sure.
We did in the past, one of the employees, we set him up to work in our facility there at the correction center in Pecos.
Oh, that would be
They
awesome.
didn't have to come in.
That, I love that, and they need help in Pecos.
Yes.
They really need the help. I love that. Thank you, Arnold. That would be perfect if we could find that would be a whole new game then,
And one
because
of
they don't have to come in.
One of the other places could be the senior center where someone to work there.
That's a great suggestion also, yeah, so where you see the need, I know the transfer station, the convenience center is, they could use help there, but maybe the senior center could also, that's a great idea, thank you. So that would really help, to get someone employed in my district, if they can have that opportunity in Pecos, that would be wonderful, thank you.
Okay, and wherever they're placed, they will be monitored, maybe not daily, but at least a few times a week.
And if,
So-
and if we could myself offer any kind of mentorship, since it's about government and not just a job, I'd love to have an opportunity to go and say hi to them and meet with them and show them how to get in trouble.
Right? And we don't necessarily want them to be in the same place doing the same thing 5 days a week. One of the ideas we have is that on Fridays, it's a day for a different experience. Whether it's a tour at the detention center so that they never want to go back, or something like that. Life experiences that are positive.
I don't like that
That's a good
Spirit Street
idea.
program.
I think it's an awesome idea to, show them all the different departments and, what every department has to offer.
That's great, and then, like the person that would be in Pecos that would have the job there, once a week, they would probably love to come into town if it's not a burden, if they have to get here every day, but to make it something special that they can make arrangements to come in, I think that's fantastic.
Right, and we'll have our own transportation and our own staff that'll be responsible for that.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
I guess we'll get a little bit off the subject as to what the criteria we're gonna use. I think that's what we need,
That's what we're looking
some
for today,
direction.
Commissioner, yes.
So any suggestions on what criteria to use on a short period? Because it's gonna be a very short.
How much are we paying them? Minimum wage or do you have?
Minimum wage.
Okay. Maybe GPA?
Income?
Income, I say income.
Income for sure, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know if you can use, family status, if they have a mother and a father, or, I don't know if you can use that. It's just-
I don't know whether we're allowed to ask those questions, but I think from the interview process, we can probably get an idea. We can,
To be, blunt on it, most of the people that have asked for a position or a job, they need it. They need it
Right.
bad. Most of them that, from our experience in the past, have been people that actually need the money and they need to get some kind of income. But the other thing that I wanted to find out from the commissioners, is everybody in agreement that you want one from each one of the districts, or you want one district to get all the?
I think,
I want it.
Because there's
My
five
district.
districts, and there's five.
If you wanna give me yours, I'll take it.
No, the reason I'm asking is because, a couple of years ago, there was no one in my district that called me for a job, or wanted a job. So I had to send them to Mr. Montoya
I'm open.
to occupy that position, but this year I've had some calls already. So,
all right.
but is that part of the criteria that each one get one from each district? Is that-
That would be, I would want somebody from my district.
So that, we're in agreement that
Yeah.
we should get one from each district. So that's one of the.
we'll verify
criteria.
that that's permissible, but I'm sure it is, as long as the opportunity is equal for everybody in each
Okay,
district.
the next criteria that we need to look at is, are we gonna base it on income or not?
So the direction that I'm getting is that part of the criteria is income, part is GPA. We can incorporate both. So that if we get a
And
student
the
from,
reason I brought up income is because in the past, and I'll say it, because I'm not afraid to say it, I've heard that people come to work here because they know somebody, they know him, they know her, so they're gonna put it to work. And I want us to break that, I don't want us to, I want us to pick people that, our community is so small that we know each other. So let's put people to work that really can benefit from it, that really can.
I think most of the people that have worked at the summer youth programs have really, really appreciated their job, and they sat here in front of the commission, and they, each one told us how much they appreciated the opportunity to work for the county and the experience they got. I think Arnold is one of the persons that had a few of those employees that can vouch. But we never did a criteria for how to hire it, as far as money or grade point average or nothing like that, because in a form, it's a form of discrimination, kind of, in a way, because, oh, you didn't make good grades, so that means you don't get a job. Okay, so.
May I speak to that, Mr. Commissioner Padilla? The way I've done it in the past is I just called him, he's a leader in his community in the barrio, and I asked him, do you know any families, any children? So I personally didn't pick him, I just asked a community member, who do you know in the barrio that needs a job? And there are people that are being homeschooled that don't have a GPA. There are people in like high school equivalency programs that don't have a GPA, So that's a difficult measuring tool. Yeah.
Stay-at-home mom, teenage mom, maybe it's not in school.
So that might not be a good measuring stick, but yeah, I'm all for underprivileged youth getting the experience. The privileged youth will get the experience very easily because they know somebody. But underprivileged youth might not have the connections, whatever you want to call it, Usually I'll just go to a leader in my district. My barrio is poor anyway, so it's not hard to find somebody that, so.
10 people, but.
Okay, the two criteria for sure is that each district of your. And the second one is how are we gonna,
Based on need.
It's a standard application. I think what I'm hearing is that there really can't be enumerated criteria, but what you all are after is the greatest need for the most worthy candidate.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
I think that's what we all want.
Right, and we can develop something like that and make sure that we interview them and try and identify the greatest need and most potential.
Thank you, and I'll just say, that's been stated, is from my, having a person from each district, I don't have to be
Right.
the one selecting them, you guys do your job. If I know somebody, I'll just direct them your way,
Okay.
okay? I think that sounds good for me.
So how are these positions, sent out to the public? Like how does our community find out that we're gonna be hiring somebody?
We'll put it on the website, and I'm fairly sure and hopeful that the radio stations will allow us to do public service announcements. And I think the manager goes on the radio periodically. We can make those type of announcements and just word of mouth. But we will get it on a fast track so that we don't lose the summer.
Thank you.
Our target date was the 26th. We may move that back 1 week to whatever a week is after the 26th.
The applications will be picked up where?
They can be downloaded off the website or picked up at the Human Resource Office.
What office?
The Human Resource Office.
Do we need action on this or just information?
No.
Just
Just
information.
direction.
As soon as possible.
We have direction.
That's fine.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Okay. I think you have your direction, Mr. Madrid.
I think so, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Madrid. Thank you.
Item number 11, repeal, I was gonna say, repeal and reaward bid on the Bernal Tracks County Road B28A miscellaneous roadway and drainage improvement project.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this bid award was part of a package where 3 projects were awarded to Franken Construction. After the award was made formally here in a commission meeting, we did receive information and a kind of a protest, not a formal protest, from one of the companies that was not a low bidder, Sierra Valley Construction, and they wanted to assert their 10% application of a 10% discount kind of for veterans preference. This is a newly implemented and not a widely known requirement that applies only to non-federal funds, but it is a requirement for New Mexico State procurement. They did assert that when this was figured in, they were the lowest bidder for the Bernal Tracks project. Franken Construction is not objecting to this. We have cleared it with our engineers, and it is proper to repeal the award of this particular project from Franken Construction and award it to Sierra Valley Construction. That's the action we're requesting today.
Where is Sierra Valley Construction Company from?
I think they're from Albuquerque. It's either Albuquerque or Las Cruces. This is one of the projects where we'll be using our own material.
It's a long way to come.
Yeah.
Motion made by Commissioner Martinez,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Nahara. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Are we on 13?
I'm on 13.
Yeah, you're on 13. Okay, 12, Public Works Division Report, month of May. Mr. Lopez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I'm here today with our monthly report for the month of May. Our motor grader number 1, operated by Juan Vigil, had full maintenance on the Clementina Road, which is County Road C56, eastern part of the San Miguel County. He's been in Magnolia Road, C60. We went into Conchas and did all the big Mesa subdivision there. And then also in Garita, C58C. He's currently in C56A in San Rafael. That's all maintenance area there. And we did apply a little bit of material in bad spots in Conchas. And then our motor grader number 2, operated by Peter Vigil, had been in the Gonzalez Ranch area, B31A and B30. He's been over in Rivera area now. Also, he's currently in Alcon on County Road C 41F. Actually, that's B41F, sorry. And then also, we've been in B29B, B29C. We did an improvement out there for Mr. Madrid out there. And the request he's had for quite a few years. We're able to accomplish that. We did some tree trimming in that area on that road as well, but provided him with a better entrance into his property. And Johnny Trujillo actually is motor grader operator number 3, and he's been over in Los Alamitos on A6, which we applied a little more base course to that road. We keep whenever we have time available for that, we've been extending the improved portion on A6 and hoping to accomplish that.
Excuse me,
this
can I ask,
summer.
is it Los Alamitos and Pecos or?
No, this is out here on the way on 518.
Okay,
And
thank
that's
you.
that county road that cuts across to I-25. And then he also serviced the White Barn Road on County Road C23, went on to La Tegua on County Road A1. We had a request from Ben Trujillo out east of here, in the direction of Trujillo actually, is County Road C50C, and he's commented that he's been trying to get this road improved for 20 years. And he's handicapped, both him and his wife, and we were able to improve that road. We did a nice improvement. We did 4 drainages, major drainages, so we installed culverts, and we applied base course to about 0.8 of a mile on his road, providing him with easy access in and out of his property. If he has a medical situation, he's got a good road now and will be able to get out. Also, Johnny did maintenance on C50C, which is on the opposite side of 104, south side. And he's currently on A17, headed into San Jeronimo, and then also from San Jeronimo to San Pablo. And basically that road, it was an improvement that we did on A17 and also A19, a few years back. And there was some spots that started to surface, bad spots. So we reapplied material to keep these roads in great condition. And also we started our project out in San Pablo, which is one of our road revenue projects. So we broke ground there about a week ago. Rocky Road is a contractor, actually it's Franken Construction, and they subcontracted to Rocky Road, is the contractor on that project. They've started moving a lot of dirt. There's a considerable amount of dirt work involved in that project, along with a lot of drainage and a big amount of base course going in that project. So I'm proud to say that we're finally kicked off these projects, and we're going to show some nice improvements out there. Pretty much covers it.
Good work. Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman? Yeah, thanks for doing the work on, again, I mentioned this before, and I'd like to thank you again on Cow Creek and Colonias Road. People have commented that those roads haven't looked that good in decades. But I understand that there's still some material that needs to go to both of those roads. Are you going to be able to do that before the rains come?
We should. I'm trying to wrap up, Peter, in some of these areas in Villanueva and Rivera area. We have a couple more roads there in that area, and then I'm planning on getting him back over there. Because, yeah, those roads, like every other road, they all need, additional materials.
Okay, okay.
We'll do our best to get out there.
Thank you so much for taking care of those. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Then I've got some other, on that road that we visited in Pecos going to the old Colonias
Yeah,
Road.
B60?
Yeah, where that arroyo is, and then we talked about the road has to be built up and then put a culvert under it, that real bad place where the water runs through.
Right.
Do you have any idea what the timeline might be for that project? Is it gonna be next year or?
No, it's still, it's in the process.
works
It's going to be this summer. It'll be late
really?
summer. I would think, but once you say that.
Okay.
That's the road where years back the county accepted the bridge from mining company.
Yeah, but I'm talking about before you go to the old Colonias Road, on the B-51, it says.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're not talking on B,
No, no,
60,
no,
yeah.
that one I know.
That's,
Before you
right.
get there, that dip where I told you, where I left my knee when I was in sixth grade.
Right, yes,
That
yes.
Arroyo.
We can consider trying to get that accomplished this summer. yes.
Oh, okay,
That-
great.
Yeah, because we don't have a project in that area, so that'll be something we'll have to address, with
Okay,
county
yeah, we had someone
resources.
stop and we talked about that
Right.
one where you talked about building the road up and putting a culvert there, because when I've been through there, when you get a lot of rain and that oil builds up, people can't cross, can't get home or can't get out. It's almost as bad as over there by the Highway 3 that they just fixed, state highway fixed, but when you get those rains, so that one really needs to be addressed sometime. Thank you so much.
Since you were talking about Rivera, I did get a call that I guess they installed a cable on that one exit road that goes, before you get to Rivera, there's a little road cuts to your left. Just before the community, I don't remember what number that is. It runs around to San Mercedes and then back to the Placita.
Is it the one that kind of is right there by the housing? Right off the
Kind of,
housing?
yeah, but you turn left and you go to that little, apparently the cable company or somebody did some work there. I don't know if you got a call on that or not.
No, I haven't.
But
no.
they cut the road, no, and they left the road a mess.
Okay.
Because they
Yep.
had, I guess you guys had fixed it once. It was
Right,
real
yes,
good,
yes.
and
So-
now it was messed up by the cable company is what I heard.
Yeah, and I think
So-
we addressed that, area
Oh, did you?
this week, yes, because I had Peter touch that road up.
Yeah, because it was
And I
just
sent
like a
him,
week ago that I got that call, so.
yeah, he requested a couple of loads of material,
Oh,
so I imagine that was for the purpose of that.
Yeah, right there.
I would think it's,
Okay.
yeah, I'll look
Since
into
you
it though, but
said
it's,
about Rivera, I thought I'd mention it.
yeah, it's probably been addressed.
And I just want to say that they're running the fiber optics out there, so there's other people working out there in those areas, because I know
Are they required to fix the road?
Well,
Yes.
they're actually required to get permission from the landowner, and they got permission from me to go into my property.
Yes, they get we have a permit that we issue to them, so they're pretty good about it. We deal a lot with Sentry and also Plateau, and they follow through and they get, their permission required. And then we do have requirements of them, and they've been applying base course to a lot of our roads that they've damaged. And, yes, and I inspect them, we're in contact, I go in with a final inspection, and just to verify that these roads are, returned to the condition that they were in or better. Yes, we had one also in.
I guess on the same subject, but on another subject, say, how many projects have we bidded out? And how many projects have we started?
Well, we bid out, the first ones that went out was a package of two, which is San Pablo and Ojitos Frios. And, those are the first ones, and that's the only one that has started. But now that they started, the flow is gonna be there. It was a long process to get to that point.
Is it one
But,
contractor pretty much, getting all the contracts?
Well, Franken Construction got those two, and then we're, the one that, Morris.
So is Franken and Rocky Road in company or what? Because it seems like you said Rocky Road got the bid, but Franken doing it or?
They subcontracted it out to Rocky Road, yes.
Wow, so they have that much to do.
They're probably a CES vendor, that's why, right?
I don't know the.
I wonder if they have a license. I wonder if it has something to do with the bonding and the license.
That's probably what it is, because Rocky Road has a lot smaller bonding capacity than Franklin Construction. The Franklin Construction can draw the larger projects and then subcontract.
So we're not doing separate, like we had talked about doing, so some truckers from the area could get work. And not just one contractor get everything, so we could bid out maybe something, are we doing that?
Yes, we are doing them in mainly by area, and in every package, you have the option for the contractor to provide the material for us, and we do them in lots with alternatives. And that's how we.
And my only concern is if there's gonna be that much construction going on, that we open it up for all the contractors that have trucks to get some work, you know?
That's why we
Spread it around.
in lots of 2 or 3 or 4, so that we don't do it all in 15 or
if I may add something to that also. So there was a big difference in bids, first bid or lowest bid to next bidder, almost half and even over half in some of these bids. So that's why we haven't considered actually awarding it to the second bidder, because it would not be in the best interest of the county. These prices that we've gotten from, Rocky Road being the lowest bidder are incredible prices, yes.
Well, I can understand that they have all the material.
Yes, they dominate,
They have the
they control
material.
because they have the material. And the fact that not wanting a competitor to come into, this area, and that's the reason why they're so aggressive with their bids.
Yeah, I used to
They want
attend the bid
win.
openings, and it was always like this football field difference, between Albuquerque competitors trying to compete with Rocky Road here. They just couldn't come close.
Even in the trucking, just trucking the material, not putting the material, but trucking it, is there a big
I don't think we
difference?
can control that because it's up to the contractor to contractor.
It was the same thing way back, I worked for a while in Rocky Mountain. It was the same thing, you just had stuff, competitive advantage. You didn't have to invest any additional money, because we already had all the assets. That's the same situation. We had, when we try and get other local contractors that have some equipment to participate, and they do, but if they have to lease additional heavy equipment, like these additional trucks, then it's going to be higher.
Because that's been one of the big complaints that I get from a lot of independent truckers and contractors. I say, because the county never gives us any work, you guys gotta bid, and you gotta bid right, because, we can't allow a contractor to get a job if it's higher than the other one, unless there's a reason for it, like you were saying, unless this contractor wasn't producing what he's supposed to produce, and this other contractor, the next one is.
We don't even accept the bids. We don't even touch the bids. We have no idea what they're going to be until they're open by a member of our finance department and verified by our.
And the only other reason that I'm talking about this is because of the time limit. Because we don't want one contractor to carry us on for 2 or 3 years like they've done in the past. And we don't do our work on the road because this contractor has so much work that we gave him that he can't finish one job. He's got to, and then he's doing other jobs for other people, not just the county. So those are my concerns, that we don't want to drag the work on for the whole summer. For one contract. I don't know if that's a concern to you, but it is to me.
I think it is, one of our major concerns as well, but the factor of the pricing, comes into play there again, because, it's gonna cost us twice the amount to get the job done sooner. Is it worth it?
So it's pretty much
Yeah.
not very feasible then, either way.
Exactly.
Maybe we need to get a contractor to hire locals to finish those jobs.
And we thought, by using our material would make it more competitive for these other contractors, because then, they don't have to purchase the material from Rocky Road, say a supplier. But, Rocky Road is so aggressive again that when they bid using our material, it was half the cost, of the project, the savings is incredible. That's why we consider using our materials for additional projects, because the savings is unreal.
And that's pretty much what I tell people when they call me about independent truckers and contractors like that, small ones. I tell them,
The other
go
contract,
with the little bid.
the other contractors
Unless
that
there's
bid
a
on it,
problem,
they don't even have any idea how he could do it for that price, but he gets it done, He has the
My
trucks and
biggest
he moves.
concern is the delay, and we need to put something in place to punish for the delay, to get
Deadlines.
funded or do more work, or do something.
Penalties, deadlines,
Penalties
penalties.
and deadlines, and we need to make sure we enforce those deadlines, because if we don't, then taxpayers are paying for it.
$500 a day.
Well, I would like to say, thank you to you and your crew for Public Works, because Mr. Ben was very pleased with the job you guys did in this area. Been waiting 20 years for it, and he said he was very pleased. So
thank you also for C-23, Mr. Estrada was almost late.
almost got
So that's
it
a
right.
big improvement.
You almost got it
Yeah,
right.
that's good. That's a good day then. Any other?
Yes, sir. Yes, I did find both emails from the previous county manager in relation to the allocation of funds and the spreadsheet that we have there. I am not yet confirmed with the finance department that those funds are in the right place. Thank you. I have a couple of other things to report. We started talking about County Road 360 in Pecos where the mine tailings were. When I first started, one of the things that was in process was the Environment Department had reinvigorated the case that was pending against the mine company in San Miguel County. So negotiations started back in October, and since then have proceeded to the point that I'll describe to you now. In short, we were going to have a project on that road anyway. In discussion with the Environment Department and the mining company has since agreed in principle to remove the contaminated material and dispose of it. That's completely their responsibility. They'll be responsible for removing and trucking it out of state. We'll provide a temporary storage site for that, but the disposal won't be our responsibility. In addition to that, and to make sure that we're both relieved of liability, they've agreed to not only remove the material and transport it, but to provide a chip seal to that portion of the road, which we hadn't anticipated. And it'll apply a permanent cap so that none of the material underneath, if there's any, can escape. And it makes a really nice road surface. So that's one of the things to expect at the next meeting. I have 3 different agreements that are with our attorney now that need to be approved for your approval that show the commitment of the 2 parties and the agreement by the Environment Department, the responsibility of both parties in the performance of the procurement and construction execution contract, and the 3rd agreement is so that we have a method that our finance department agrees on for them placing money in a type of escrow account so that we don't proceed without making sure that the funding that they've committed to is in place. So those should be presented to you at the next commission meeting. We're proceeding with a design because we're going to do it anyway. But that's going to be one of the things. Hopefully we may have a bid item. It may not be till the first week in August, but we may have a bid item no later than the meeting in August. So that's one of the items that is going to be on a fast track. The other one, with your permission, is that we were notified that our diesel mechanic, Greer, and company, I'm not sure what the name of the company is, they issued a termination letter to the county because they're basically dissolving their business. And we apparently only had 1 mechanic under contract for diesel and gasoline engine services. So we just this morning finished drafting an RFP that we'll need to do to replace them. We will work with finance to make sure that that RFP is adequate. This next time, we want to make sure if we get enough qualified applicants that we have not only a good one, but an alternate, so that this doesn't happen again. Or if the first one's just too busy, we can go to the next one. If we don't do it that way, then we may have to transport our vehicles to Albuquerque every time to get serviced. And that's not only time consuming, it's 3 or 4 times as expensive. So that's our intention. We're also going to have one of our motor grader operators retiring. We'll need to make that replacement, but we're prepared to get that done. And we have all the procedures in place to do that.
Morris, let me ask you a question. Since you're talking about the mechanic, diesel mechanic in the shop, do you know how
Other than saying a lot, I think it's over $100,000.
Over 100,000. No, what I'm trying to get at is, don't we have a shop here at the maintenance department ourselves? And we could maybe at some point start looking into getting a home mechanic and doing our own work there at the shop?
I don't know if the shop is adequate.
Or do you think that would be too far-fetched?
No, the shop facility is adequate. It's just that we do not have and possess the type of tools that's required for heavy equipment. We would be able to, if we hired a mechanic, he'd be limited to more service type service, you know, and not on the high end and the heavy mechanic, because that is such a specialized field. And even if we are able to find a mechanic that could do that, I'm sure he's going to want, you know, a real high salary. But the liability reasons now, and being that it's not in their job description, we do not allow any of our employees to do any type of mechanical, you know, stuff like that. Because without the proper tools, I mean, it's not even possible.
At some point, I want to look at all the maintenance figures and all that, and then look at what other counties are doing, maybe better than what we're doing, or maybe not.
And I agree with that.
Maybe not, and do our own thing.
I think that's a very good suggestion, and possibly maybe even that person, if it was somebody that could service, they could service not just public works, but maybe the entire fleet or the county, as far as, you know, maintenance, more oil changes and.
And what I'm trying to get at is, now that we're kind of working with the city, together with the city and everything, maybe we could find one contractor that has all the tools and the truck that could go to your shop and do maintenance, because maybe he doesn't have a shop, maybe he doesn't have a place to work in, or something of that nature. But anyway, something to look at maybe for the future. Also,
Good idea.
yeah. See, the city and the county could get the same maybe contractor going and maybe doing their maintenance and our maintenance.
And that's something we can do, Commissioner, even following this process, even if we did do an RFP, award a contract, that doesn't mean that we're committed to doing that for the entire year. While we do that type of study, we can just continue this way until we find a better way, and maybe we will find a better way.
Thank you for listening to my idea.
The last thing that I want to report on has nothing to do with Public Works. It has to do with the summit that you all held with the city and discussion on opening Boys and Girls Club in Las Vegas. I received a call from Vince Howell, and with the permission of the manager, we paid a visit to the Boys and Girls Club in Santa Fe, their main office. There are 7 of them that are under one umbrella. There were other representatives from the community that Councilor Howell had invited. We had almost a day-long discussion with them, and I only want to report to you today that there are funding sources identified. We have an idea on some empty facilities, mainly with the schools, that may be able to be utilized. We learned how they operate on an annual basis, what their objectives are, the type of people that they hire, and the level of recurring funding, initial funding and recurring funding they would need. Initially, they would need a larger amount of funding because their primary source of funding, which is CYFD, is on a reimbursement basis. So they have to spend the money and get it reimbursed. You have to have an initial cash outlay. But that type of funding, we learned, is not on a competitive basis. If you have the program, you will get funded as long as you meet their service criteria. Each club services between 30 to 50 youth. They can be bigger or smaller. They do prefer to hire local people to direct and run the programs. They will not issue a new charter so that we have a separate one in Las Vegas. It would be under the Santa Fe umbrella. We're going to have some follow-up meetings to get more information with them, review their audit reports, their program reports, the type of information they submit to their national office, and the type of support that they get from the national office. I had hoped that Councilor Howell and the group could be here just to introduce to you today But, so you'll know, I'll try and get them here next time. We're going to try and formulate at least the abstract skeleton of how the program should operate and identify all the resources that we need, both in facilities and in funding, to possibly start this program in January of this coming year.
Are you looking at doing something kind of like the YMCA?
Kind of.
Kind of, because if you need information, not to say, but my son runs the YMCA in Albuquerque. So
Right.
if you need any information, you know, Tootie,
Yes.
you could probably contact him and he could probably give you information as to how the operation works.
That's a good resource because they are similar programs. The Boys and Girls Club of America don't have any facilities for overnight stays or anything like that. They're mainly after school and summer programs. But they're very, very structured and they have very high success rates.
That's a good program.
Thank you for carrying that ball downfield, Mr. Madrid, and keep us abreast. I think we have one more question, Commissioner Martinez does, that we're all kind of interested in the answer. And,
My question is, I want to know where we're at with the electrical and the utilities and the economic development.
The PNM has not given neither our electrician or the EDC the estimate that they gave us verbally, and we are still paying the electricity there. That's the short answer, Commissioner.
On the lease, doesn't it say that EDC is responsible for obtaining all those?
Absolutely. It identifies a lot of the responsibilities, including all utilities that they are responsible for, including maintenance of the buildings, that in some cases, as our safety officer can attest to, we've had to just take over to keep the building safe.
So they're not being held accountable for what they're supposed to be doing then?
I couldn't tell you that. I think that, and I'm not involved with EDC on a daily basis, but I think that not funding the EDC for the coming year is probably as about accountable as they can get, because that amounts to a termination of the contract, which is the most harsh thing that can be done.
well, that's not the reason.
No,
You
that
know,
wasn't the reason.
let's make it very clear.
Absolutely not,
Let's make
no.
it very clear that we're not,
No, that wasn't.
we're not holding them accountable by withholding
Thank you for
funds.
clearing that, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
That wasn't the
Chairman,
reason.
I'm the commission designee for EDC, and we'll meet on Thursday. Is that something I should address? Ask them that why they're not complying with that?
Yes, and where's the process of getting the utility switched over? The counties have paid the gas bill and electric bill for 2 years.
And on the lease?
Unknowingly.
Yeah.
How do we rectify it? Where is it at? Who's doing what to rectify it?
Okay.
And the chair, Joel Scheinberg, I've met with them, and they have agreed that it is their responsibility. They just haven't followed through on
But I mean, how long
taking
are
it
we
over.
going to let them go through the county paying their bill when that money that the county is paying for that could be used for our county employees, our county roads, our county offices, something like that? I mean, the process has to stop. I mean, it's already been 2 years that the county's been paying. Since I became a commissioner, I brought it to the attention of everybody, and it still continues.
I agree.
And I mean, I don't mean to hound on you, but I mean, I think it needs to
I'm the
stop.
perfect one to hound on, Commissioner. The real answer is that if we cut off their power to their facility, we cut it off to our facility too. That's where we're weak in a negotiating stance.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, is that the issue? Is the reason why we can't bill them is because the PNM, what is it called? Is it the
The
transport?
service is not separate.
It's not, the box is not separate, correct?
Right.
Separate meters, right?
We would have to separate the meters and the service panels and service lines.
So it's all connected to one.
Right.
So in order to bill them, we have to separate.
Can't
Yes.
they just pay a percentage? Can't you just calculate, estimate a percentage, so they're paying something? And would they pay what they owe back pay, or are they just gonna go forward? How's that gonna work?
Well, that's not my decision, but I would recommend that we do pursue that type of collection because we can show what our billing was prior to and subsequent to the opening of that facility. So it's reasonable that we could say, this is what we think you owe, at least as
Yeah.
starting point.
And Melinda, weren't you looking into that, Ms. Gonzalez? An average, yeah.
And I think the problem, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think the big problem is, don't they have a three-phase?
I'm not sure.
Because they run big machinery, so if it's a three-phase, I think that's the big problem.
That's-
If it's a three-phase, then it's not just as easy as just transferring a meter here and there. It's pretty complicated.
That's probably
the
correct,
problem.
Commissioner, because if it weren't, it would be a lot less expensive.
But it's P&M that does it, right? P&M was the company
Right.
that would go in there and put the meter on.
But they're responsible for
And they're,
paying it,
yeah,
not the county,
well, exactly.
according to the lease.
What was the verbal estimate from P&M?
$20,000.
That's why they're not doing it. And I
Right.
would imagine that our utilities there are over a couple of $1,000 a month, easy.
They're close to a couple of $1,000s. They used to be in the neighborhood of 400 to 500, I think, and they went up to over 2,000 a month, something like that.
They've got dryers, they got everything, so the
Right.
gas bill and the electric bill, I would imagine is over $2,000 a month to operate.
I think they have their own propane tanks for gas, but the electricity has definitely gone up.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this issue was submitted to our previous county attorney, and the concern that he had is the billing. How much do we actually bill them? The first issue was it's all one.
Did he send the letter out that we had requested of him?
He was waiting for the separation, the P&M situation, because his concern was, well, if we're gonna bill them, how much do we bill them? Because right now,
I thought we were gonna just put him on notice that that action has to be taken, they have to move on this.
he requested information on the specifics on the billing, but the issue again is the separation.
So he did not write a letter.
No, that was never, no.
But he's not the only attorney we have. I mean, we have the other attorneys that we can
Correct, but
communicate with to get this letter out. I mean,
we can resubmit the letter, but again, the issue is how much do we bill them?
And it looks like Ms. Gonzalez and Mr. Morris are gonna figure that out. Hopefully
We can
sooner than
provide
later.
that pretty quickly.
I'd appreciate that. We all would appreciate that. Because how illegal is it knowingly to pay a private company's electric bills?
Well, not, I don't think it would, I'm not an attorney, but I don't think it's necessarily, would be a legal issue, it's a civil issue, breach of contract. Because there's an obligation that they have, not legally, but contractually, that they're not living up to.
Them being a nonprofit, would they be considered a private company?
Well, what I do know about contracts, it doesn't matter. There's not one legal entity versus another legal entity. When you have the offer, acceptance, and an exchange of consideration, the agreement is binding, no matter what the status is of either party.
Something that I was thinking, Mr. Chairman, I think to do right away for the immediate thing would be just to separate that meter and just put us a regular meter for our use, for our offices and stuff, instead of, in other words, instead of going with a three-phase, if they have a three-phase, that's very expensive. Just have P&M just put us a regular meter for our use.
but then we'll have to, the county will have to pay for that.
Well, for our use, yeah.
Yeah,
But then it would separate the meter right away. In
But
other
on the
words,
lease, it says that they have to change the
But
electric to
what
theirs.
I'm saying is if it's a three-phase situation that they have, that they need, that they're using, putting a regular meter is gonna cost us $20,000, it's probably a lot cheaper.
But why should the county incur a cost that they're supposed to have incurred? The county's not supposed to incur
Oh,
the
is
cost.
that on the contract?
Yes,
That they're supposed to change?
they're supposed to change
Oh,
it
okay, so that's, yeah, that's.
2 years ago.
I thought we were responsible for changing.
So, Mr. Manager, if you want to call Martinez and Associates, explain the situation to them and have them draft a letter. So hopefully we can get an immediate response and some resolution to this. And I understand, Ms. Gonzalez, you had something to say a while ago about gathering an estimate?
Right. that?
Yes, I'm very much aware of that issue also, and I think the director of EDC has been made aware of the appraisal that they needed and the need for USDA to set the rental price on those buildings, which was also in the contract.
Right.
With the EDC.
Yeah,
So
there are
that's
several
moving forward,
issues that maybe should all be consolidated and addressed now.
Always consolidated and placed in that one letter from legal to EDC about the contract compliance.
The lease agreement.
The lease agreement with they're out of compliance with. And we need some kind of deadline, I would imagine, to resolve this, because we're continuing to pay the bill, the taxpayers' money, until it's resolved.
I'll put the packet together and submit it to the attorney.
Put the timeframe for them to respond on that would be good.
Okay, will do.
If there's no more discussion, and Mr. Madrid, if you have nothing further to add?
I'm dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank
Then we're
you.
off to item number 14.
13.
13,
Oh.
website.
Oh, website, yes. Mr. Trujillo, fantastic job, sir.
Chairman Embry, Vice Chair Padilla, Commissioners, Dr. Martinez. Today, the San Miguel IT Technology Department has completed the migration to the new San Miguel County website. And today, we plan on unveiling this to the public. If I could get to the homepage, Mario.
Mario.
The east or west side, that gives you a little better view of the cosmetic enhancements we've made to the homepage. As you can see, and I'll step to the side, we have a box for each one of our elected officials departments. We'll have a couple of pages real quick. Mario, can you click on the county commission page? As you can see, our intent is to bring more information and more present environment through our website. Our website should be a reflection of our offices, and should be an automated representation of our departments. We want to provide one-stop shopping for our constituents and as much information to them as possible. So the similar pages you can see, we all have really up there. I don't think we'll put Commissioner Martinez. You can click on it and link it to your file.
Click on her.
Who's that character?
So, we're gonna have a little competition as to who can get us their bio the quickest. I know it's been a very short time since our last meeting.
How many pages do you want?
Well, Dr. Martinez went as far as to elaborate on his time in the Korean War. So those were not his too. Our county treasurer did a real good job.
His first three married it.
Expressing how honorable it was to be elected and represent the constituents of our county. So there's a couple of examples out there that makes it Dr. Martinez have a pretty informative one. Ms. Bustamante, our treasurer, kept it a little shorter. There's a couple of examples out there that you can look at. If your preference, personal, professional, whatever, you choose to put out there. So Mario, one of the things we incorporated into our website is some recording codes. Yes, ma'am, just the good news. Nothing bad. We want to get as much information out there as possible. One of the things we've discussed with the road department is doing a drive-through on a Monday morning and having a 30-second to a minute video clip posted on their page to inform the residents in that area of what to expect over the next 5 days, whether it be rerouting of traffic, any stoppages of traffic, whatever the case may be. They'll have a visual and an audio message for that week's progress or what's planned for that week. So we plan on incorporating as many images, videos as possible, and any suggestions are more than welcome from any department or the commission.
I just want to say it was really good. I had a chance to look at it, the link you sent, and I'm very pleased to see what you've done with it.
Thank you very much. Dr. Martinez's direction helped us get this thing up within a relatively short amount of time, and his desire to incorporate automated reporting portals for our departments, I'm sure will make us become more efficient when it comes to expediting our services to our
Elena
clients.
said, as long as we don't look like real estate brokers.
I can guarantee you I won't. Mario, if we could take us to the homepage, please. But our images will change periodically, if not seasonal, as we get out there to collect them. I'd like to give thanks to Leo and Caesar, who helped us compile the few images that we have.
Where did you get the images? Did you take them?
We actually went out and took them at the locations. Caesar looked kind of funny laying behind that piece of alfalfa right there to get that image from behind that picture.
Very good job.
And Morris did a real good job of relocating Murphy Lake into San Miguel's county border, so we now own that lake.
Thank you. Does it have water in it?
It does. One of the reasons we're highlighting that particular location is one of the only ways to get to that location is through San Miguel County. Mora County, where it does reside, does not have any lodging available for those individuals, even though they, in most cases, camp up there. But they do come through our county, they shop here for groceries, in some cases they stay in our hotels. So I think it's important that we promote those outer laying parks, monuments, and locations that we benefit from as well. So like I said, any locations, we also have photo galleries incorporated in here. We're trying to promote tourism and bring as much grocery receipts into our area as possible. So we're hoping over the next 6 months that we can bring in local business that can afford these types of methods of advertising and advertise for them. Opening it up to every business within reason, of course. I don't think we want to get into promoting liquor stores. But of course, anything we can do to bring in any grocery receipts, I think we need to promote.
Like, I know we have a Pecos Business Association. Does Las Vegas have also, or is it the chamber that's the?
I will take suggestions from anyone. We do have an meeting on events league right here in the middle. So we've already added the Fiesta Run, 4th of July Fiesta, but any event, whether it be a cakewalk or the bike rally, I think we need to promote that.
Excellent. Well, like the New Mexico True on Channel 4 had an episode about Pecos a couple weeks ago. I can send you
put
the
that
link.
clip on as well.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
We're not always aware of everything, so feel free to let us know that when your communities or districts are highlighted in local media or social media, so that we can incorporate those. On the sheriff's page, we placed an article that KRQE did on some assistance that our deputies offered to a young bike rider in front of JC's Pizza. Unfortunately, there wasn't a video associated with it, but they did provide us a photo that we put on their page. So we welcome any information we can possibly post on here.
What about, like you were saying a while ago, areas like of interest, like for example, we're only from San Miguel County where I live, we're only like maybe 3 or 4 miles, maybe 5 miles from Murphy Lake. I mean, they have to go through San Miguel pretty much on this end of it.
Yes,
to
sir.
go to Murphy's Lake. And there's a lot of other areas that are real close to the county that I think we should bring out, if it's okay with their county, I think it's all right.
I
Because
don't
it
see any
brings,
problem with it until they bring
tourism.
it to our attention. One thing, Mr. Cesar Alviso and myself, took a ride up to Pandaray to get some photographs of the golf course up there. And I approached the golf pro, and he was extremely excited that we're taking the initiative to promote his facility and that area. So he said, anything we can do to help you guys out, we're willing to do that. And I said, well, we'll do the same. So we plan on promoting that facility, golf course as well as Highlands Golf Course. So
That's one of
anything
the
and
most
everything.
beautiful golf courses there is in the whole state.
It is. And we have some pictures in our photo gallery of the photos we took that day. So whatever we can, whether it be a cakewalk or the bike rally, like I said, we need to promote everything.
Do we have our farms in there? Do you have you taken pictures yet, like to the Villanueva?
I've yet to make it to those areas. It's kind of hard. I rely on
Acequias and farms will have to get a section for that. I'll help you out.
yeah, and anything you can compile while you're out and about, looking at your district. So
cool.
we can take. It's kind of hard during the day. I have a lot of responsibilities. I actually take one of Ms. Gonzalez's employees because he has that photographic eye. So we try not to infringe on our normal workloads, but get out there when we can. So we're going to rely heavily on anything that employees or constituents or residents can provide us via email to promote our local areas. Anything from Los Montoyas to Conchas to Rociala to Cowles, we're willing to put on there. So one of the things I spoke to Commissioner Gilabri about was promoting our local ranchers and outfitters and getting them to participate in the gross receipts process. Those are some of probably the biggest price tag items we sell in the county. So we want to get them to participate in the taxing process. Most of those people coming in are paying $20,000 to $30,000 per hunting tag. And you can only imagine when you're selling close to 200 within your county borders, how much gross receipts that could bring us to help us with road improvements, hiring additional staff, whatever the case may be. But we're hoping to encourage them to participate in the taxing process from here on out, as well as the outfitters, not only the private landowner, but the outfitter who's buying it and then reselling it to out-of-state residents to come in and hunt our resources. So we're looking at everything we possibly can to broaden our ability to collect revenue for the county.
Good job.
Thank you.
Two thumbs up.
Thank you, sir.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo.
Mr. Trujillo, don't go anywhere, because you're up next.
Yes, and
if you
at your request, we'll consolidate the next 4 items. They all follow the same criteria.
We're headed.
We bring you 4 name road names. The first is the addition of Pleasant Drive, located here in San Miguel County. The second is Orange Drive, located in Gonzales Ranch. The third is Calle Brillante, located in the Tecolotito area. And the fourth is Camino Ardilla, located in El Porvenir, better known as the Roybal Cabins. All 4 instances meet the requirements for SMC Ordinance 071399 ORD2. Because these names were required, there will be a request to waive this fee since it is of no, it was initiated by the rural addressing staff. So we have 4 road names, Camino Ardilla, Calle Brillante, Orange Drive, and Pleasant Drive.
Like Antonio built those cabins. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Padilla.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Item number 18. Thank you, sir. recommendation to approve the revised job description of emergency management specialist, Leo Maestas. County Manager, ¿cómo
Good
estás?
afternoon, Commissioners, County Manager Martinez and Mrs. Gonzalez. Homeland Security recently informed the county that as of the end of fiscal year 2016, they're no longer going to be funding the position of administrative assistant. And the new position that they are going to be funding is emergency management specialist. So we go to the county for approval for the revision of the job description from administrative assistant to emergency management specialist.
Is it going to be the same person?
Same person.
Okay.
Same duties. They
Change
just
the job title.
change the name.
Motion to approve?
Got a motion to approve by Commissioner Padilla, seconded
Second.
by Commissioner Nahara. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Leo.
Thank you.
Number 19, personnel actions or changes for the month of May. Eileen Cedillo, or is this Mr. Manager?
You should, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you should have a list of personnel action changes for the month of May 2017 listed on your computer.
Yep, I've got 'em.
There's a general request and backup.
Come on, back up.
Backup?
Under backup, yeah.
Action requested of commission is to approve and ratify the personnel action or changes that have taken place during the month of May 2017.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Commissioner Nahara to approve,
Second?
seconded by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Board of Finance meeting. Bank transfers for the month of May. County Treasurer Bruto Bustamante. How are you doing today?
Real good, thank you. How about yourself? Good?
Doing well,
Good
thank you.
afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Before I start my bank transfers, I would like to give a report on my tax dollar report. From January to May, our office has collected $4,732,803.83. That's for our 5-month collection. To the other commissioners that were here on previous administration, I used to give a tax dollar report quarterly. Now, if you would want a quarterly report, I can do that also for any commissioners. But I'm hoping our website will be able to post our tax dollar report monthly. We're working on that with Grego. Our payroll transfers, we had two. From detention center to payroll, we had $54,668.83. From general fund to payroll, we had $197,617.29. That was for May 19th, a total of $252,286.12. For May 25th, from detention center, we had $55,898.07. From general fund, we had $186,882.62. A total of $242,780.69. Our internal transfers that we had quite a few of them this month. From fire funds to general fund, we had $42,674.74, and I believe that was for insurance premiums. We had another one from general fund to detention center, that was $1,460.47, and that was from the Department of Transportation, was deposited into our general fund, we had to put it into detention. From general fund to detention, we also had $40,524.79, and that was from the administration offices of the court. And then we had our monies that did go out was our Vernon Leo County, $49,000, 31st, we had ones that were going out from our general fund reserve bank that was transferred to Chase. And that was what is it called? And that was $463,525. That was, we did a wire transfer because the money had to be there before June the 1st, correct? That was it for the month of May.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work. Item number 21, Resolution 2017-06-13F1, Insurance Premiums Affordable Care Act. Melinda? That employee's not going to complain about it. Thank you so much. Any questions? Thank you so much, Linda. Item number 22, Resolution 2017-6-13.
Do we need to make a motion, action on the last one?
No. Oh, no, I thought it was information only.
Information only? I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Commissioner Padilla. For approval, seconded by Commissioner Varela on item number 21, Resolution 2017-06-13F1. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Now, Mr. Manager, so you took action on something that was posted, non-action item.
Correct.
I don't think we're going to black you, but you want to just check with legal.
Yes, sir. I'll double check that.
That was okay.
I will.
Thank you. 22. This is also for review and approve. Ms. Melinda?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Varela, seconded by Commissioner Padilla. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Melinda. Item number 23, Indigent Burial, New Mexico Mortuary Services. Melinda?
Application for
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Ahad, seconded by Commissioner Martinez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you again, Linda. Accounts payable, item number 24, accounts payable report for the period of April 25th, 2017 to May 25th, 2017. April 2017 housing payment register, Ms. Gonzalez. If there are no questions, I'll stand for motion. Motion made by Commissioner Padilla,
Second?
seconded by Commissioner Ahad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you again, Ms. Gonzalez. One more, cash balance report, ma'am. Okay, we'll go back to that. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go right ahead. Okay, so we need a point of order here. I did not see the new business when we went into regular order without addressing the new business. So I'd like to do it now that we're at the end of our agenda.
I make a motion to go review new business.
Motion made by Commissioner Padilla,
Second?
second by Commissioner Varela. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions, any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So all this is, we talked about the different Robert Rules of Orders. We have edition number 9. I think the manager has gotten copies for everyone. And this is just so we all know what rules how to run the meeting and by what rules. And all it does is make the meeting smoother because everybody's on the same page, everyone knows what rules we're following. I don't remember the last Robert Rules of Order that I read way back when I was on the Loveless board at Albuquerque. They follow one of the rules. So if we're all on the same page, everything is one place. There's not much difference between each one. So, Mr. Manager, this is not actually an action item, is it? Just we're going to give them to everyone?
Correct.
Look them over. Next month, we can vote to adopt it as our rules. Is that what the conversation is about?
Correct, and I think the concern was if adopted, how would that change the meetings? Is there any additional?
Well, it doesn't change anything. Matter of fact, it should just run smoother, if everybody understood the rules. And there are some very simple rules in there. They're not really technical, like as if you're in the Senate or the U.S. House when you have these really few partisan fights, and everybody's invoking the different rules left and right, but it's just how we run a meeting.
It's very parliamentary procedure and how, exactly.
So this is the most standard one, the 11th edition. It's the most widely used one, so I thought it'd be simpler. So flip through it. not, on our next meeting.
This is like, thank you, I love it. I was the parliamentarian of student council in high school, so I love this kind of stuff about being a government.
Be careful what you ask for.
I'm gonna be the parliamentarian.
And with that, executive session, is there any reason to go into executive session, Mr. Manager?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, yes, there's limited personnel matters as permitted by NMSA 1978, Section 10-15-1 H2 as amended of the Open Meetings Act, more specifically personnel matters regarding specific county departments, public works, planning and zoning, detention center, and county attorney. Also attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatening or pending litigation as permitted by NMSA 1978, Section 10-15-1 H7 as amended of the Open Meetings Act, more specifically, Flores Agency versus County of San Miguel et al. D-412-CB-2017-301.
I'll stand for motion to go into executive session. Motion made by Commissioner Padilla, seconded by Commissioner Martinez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We're now moving into executive session.
Did your computer freeze too, Melinda?
We've never had a
Yeah, see, they're still spinning around. They were trying to open that report and they just put it there.
The lawyer recommended that we do that.
From Martinez.
I was gonna close it.
Here. This is, we've never done it in the past.
No, that's okay.
I've never seen that. I think. I'm gonna stay here.